gorilla stomping in a zoo. Check the vocals, animals gather right. Boom.
Hey everybody, and welcome back for another video. We're on today's video. It is a beautiful November morning. Still dew on the grass as the remainder of the frost that was there this morning when we first got up. But anyways, like I said, a beautiful day, not much wind at all. So, and the kids are in school. So me and my wife got a good chance here now to get outside and really just have a good excuse to get outside the door and do something and enjoy this beautiful day. So what's on our agenda today is we're going to plant some garlic. Alright, this first raised garden bed that you see here, this is the one that we grew the lettuce and beets. I think I may have even had a couple of tomato plants in here at some point. But anyways, we're going to clean this up a little bit, get some compost put in here. This is going to be our first usage of our homemade compost. And that was made last year, I think, and it's turned out quite well. So I think it's ready for use. And get this bed prepped up, garlic planted, and find some kind of mulching material at some point to secure that all in the ground and insulate it for the winter. We've had a couple of frosts already, so I'm pretty sure we're at a good temperature for planting. And so we're going to try our hands at planting garlic and see how it goes. We got a couple of packs of bulbs that we've had in the fridge for a while now, so hopefully they've kept well, and we'll see what kind of results we get. So we'll bring you in closer now, we'll tidy up this garden bed, get some compost and everything added to it, and get planting. Alrighty, so I'm going to start off here and just rake back some of the old mulch that I had on the bed for the beets. Not going down overly deep or anything, just to take the skim coat off the top. Alright, and for this raised bed, you know, we're not going to be tilling all the soil or tilling the compost in. We're going to be just doing a top layer. So all I want out of this is just to have it flattened down. I'm not digging down deep. I'm trying to keep the little microbiome going inside, the little ecosystem that the insects and everything have established. So I'm not trying to disturb any of that. Just tidy it up, get some compost put on top, and then we'll plant. And as well, this raking will loosen any old weeds that might have been lingering around as well, just to disturb the roots of those. Alright, so that's well enough. Now I will go and get some compost, and we'll come and spread that, work it in a little bit, and then we'll plant. Alright, so our compost piles after turned out pretty good. Let's try to see if I can give you an example of some of the better stuff that I'm after. So a lot of the darker earth is down towards the bottom, whereas some of the newer shavings are still at the top. But there's lots of fungal growth. There's mushrooms, all kinds of little life growing inside there. This is what our current compost is looking like. You can kind of see the fungal growth and webbing there. All good stuff. So this should be really good. This should be good condition now after the winter. there we are. This should be a good enough amount. That's probably about 2 bagfuls that you'd buy at the store. And we'll head on over and get this scooped in. Alright, so now that I got a bit of compost put in there, I'm going to work it into the soil. And I'm not putting a whole lot of compost in there because a lot of our compost was made from chicken manure shavings and stuff like that. And chicken manure is very high in nitrogen. And you don't want to burn up your plants by overdoing it with chicken manure compost. So it's going to be a relatively high nitrogen content. Hopefully it's enough. And we're also going to be adding a bit of bone meal into the bed as well. So hopefully that'll all balance out to a nice nitrogen mix and nutrient mix. So yeah, so I'll get on the rake here now, start mixing this in. And my wife's going to put some bone meal in on top of everything as well. And we'll get everything all mixed together. And then we'll start separating some garlic cloves and get ready for planting. Alrighty, so now that the bed is prepped, here's our packs of garlic that we had in the fridge. It's nothing special, I don't even know what kind of garlic this is. Pretty much just says fresh garlic, 3 pieces. So, and this came from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Or at least that's where it was packaged. Alright, so what we're going to be doing, you can kind of tell that this clove here has already started to have some sprouts. For that reason I may leave this one until last, but we will demo opening this first. Alright, so you got your main bulb of garlic, and I'm going to use my thumbnail just to split the paper coating on the outside. We'll peel that off down to the individual cloves. Alright, so once we get down that far, we should be able to start taking individual cloves out of this. Alright, so that'll be one clove right there that we would plant. Alright, and like I say, where the sprout is already on this one, we don't really want them to grow yet. Okay, so these are supposed to go dormant for the winter. So since these have activated, I'm going to leave them till last, but that's basically it. You're just splitting them into individual cloves, trying to keep a little bit of the skin on there as well. So like this one just tore right down to the soft flesh, so that'd be the one that I would also leave just as like an experimental side one. Alright, so that's that. Me and my wife are going to start separating some cloves. Probably throw you into a little bit of music there now while we do this, and then we'll come back and do some planting. Alrighty, so we've finished separating our cloves, and we got a good number there. I think we should have plenty for what our purposes are. This is going to be a trial bed of garlic. Like I say, it's our first time doing this. Not that it looks overly hard, but you know, those are usually the more misleading tasks, are the ones that look easy. But overall, garlic is supposed to be a very easy plant to do. It's pretty much put these in the ground, cover them up, and ignore them, other than a bit of watering. Right, so we got homemade compost, and we got bone meal, and we're going to get these planted in that bed. Hopefully we'll end up with some garlic plants next year. As well, one thing I wanted to mention is that I've seen, now I haven't confirmed it obviously because I haven't grown garlic before, but I have heard that the bigger the donor clove that you're planting, the bigger the plant that you end up with the next season. So we kind of selected a little bit on the bigger outside cloves out of each bulb, and we got plenty of them, so we should be okay. If we got some more room left in the bed when we're done, and we got some little ones, we may just throw those in there as a little bit of an experiment, but for the most part, what you see is what you get. So let's go on over to the other bed and we're going to start planting. Alright, so what you see us doing here now, you know, we're being a little bit on a particular side of things, but we're also out here enjoying the sun today, and we're in no rush to leave this area so far. So we're just picking at this slowly, doing it really methodical, because we ended up with 50 cloves, and in an 8x4 garden bed, this pretty much works out to every 9 inches to have a clove. And we're going to be doing 5 rows of 10. So that's the idea. So I've marked out every 9 inches going down the length of it there now, and I'm going to just take a stick and make a trench across, and then every 9 inches going to the side, spacing out 5 rows relatively evenly, we'll pop a clove down in each of those spots. So that's the goal. We'll see how it works out. And I'm just going to use this little fence board for a railing board to trace to make my trenches. Like I say, it's a little bit on the particular side of things, but I think maybe if we do like one row at a time or one trench at a time, it could make it a bit easier. But I'm just going to use this like a level, like a ruler, and make my trench. And I'm making my trench probably about 2 inches deep. And once I get this trench done, we're going to plant this one and move on to the next. So one thing as well, if I were to start off doing every 9 inches right away, I'd actually only do 4 rows. So I got to start about 4.5 inches, and then I'll do my 9-inch spacing from there. Alright, it's a good enough trench there. So I'll start off down here, so at 4.5 inch mark. Oh, one thing we should point out as well, for those of you not familiar, let me say this is the bottom and this is the top. Alright, it has to go in vertically like this into your planting space. Alright, so again, we'll start off 4.5 inches down the hole, like so. And we'll move on from there. So after 4.5 inches, 13.5 is going to be next. And then 22.5. And 31.5. And then 40.5. Alright, there you have it. There's a row, 5 cloves. And the last spacing at the end should even be pretty much 4.5. 46 down to 41, close enough. Alright, so that's how we're going to be planting our rows. And I'll probably put you over to music again there now as we just continue on down the bed and put 50 of these cloves in the ground. And then we'll cover them all up at the end. Alright, so all the cloves are in the ground there now, all 50. Turned out really nicely. Like I say, that extra little bit of preparation and being particular with our measurements, you can kind of tell how nice of a grid we got done here now of 5 by 10 cloves. So hopefully when they start growing, this will add to the benefit effect anyways, and giving them proper spacing and their own little pocket of nutrition, I should say, for growth. otherwise it'll look pretty anyways. Alright, so function or not, it looks good and we're happy with it. So I'm going to start filling in those trenches, and then my wife's going to water it. And our water has a bit of a fertilizer, just a organic garden fertilizer mix into it. It's a dissolvable fertilizer that you water in. And we'll do that, and then I'll probably just add some wood shavings to the top as a bit of a mulch, and we're done here. Pretty much leave it for the winter. So I'll start filling in the trenches there now. Alrighty, so now that we get everything planted, fertilized, covered over, all that good stuff, it's time to put some form of mulch down. I got some pine wood shavings right now. For the amount of wind and everything that we get, it's going to be kind of light. So these are going to have to be watered down to keep the wind from taking them and carrying them off out of here. But if I end up with probably like a straw material or another kind of mulch throughout the fall, I may add it on top of these depending on how much sticks around with the wind that we get. So this is just going to be one of those experiments now to see how long the wood shavings will stick around. And hopefully by watering them in, it'll form a bit of a mat, and they'll stick around longer. So go ahead now and get these spread in the bed, and that's it. Garlic will be done. And there you have it, boys and girls. That's going to conclude today's video of planting our garlic. Hopefully we have some good results. As I said before, it is our first time doing it, so any kind of outcome is possible right now. But I think we did everything we possibly could to give it a good chance, and it's all up to nature at this point in time now. So we'll water it throughout the fall season, but once the snow comes, it's just going to be hopefully dormant under the ground, and hopefully won't freeze solid and die. So all those factors are still in play, but we're going to try it out and hopefully have good success with it. We're going to water this mulch down, the wood shavings. We'll do that off camera just to get everything flattened out and weighted down so that hopefully the wind won't carry it all away. But other than that, our prep and everything for the bed is done at this point in time. So it's pretty much fingers crossed and see what we get. Alright, so until next video, hope you're happy, hope you're healthy, take care of each other, and peace out.